Shallow men believe in luck or in circumstance. Strong men believe in cause and effect. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the lounge. Let's go.
Hey, said this is a lounge. Culture and justice, you know you can trust that we holding it down. Well, you can bet we applying that pressure, it come by the pound. Speaking the truth and the logic to do what makes us so profound. That's why we got the crown. Said this is a lounge. Culture and justice, you know you can trust that we holding it down. Well, you can bet we applying that pressure, it come by the pound. We living better no matter the weather, we sticking around. Come see what we found. Yeah, this is the lounge. V.S.O.P. for the record, no better. Yeah, this for the wealth. Both of the people are equals, no better. To speak for the culture, our needs and our health. Conscious it reign with dignity, giving the keys to victory and being a man. Lift up the culture, protect it from leeches and vultures, and speak for who need in a hand. Cause this is the lounge.
Welcome back to the lounge. I, of course, am your host, the captain of the cool kids and host of the Grown Man Logic podcast, Dewan J. And I hope that all is well. For those of y'all that are new to this platform, I am an actor, author, fitness model, motivational speaker, and a life coach. And this channel is about building better people through accountability and critical thinking. Welcome to the V.S.O.P. Lounge. If this is your first encounter, we are in the middle of a series entitled Respect. And we're talking about why there is dirt, urine, bleach, a ghetto version of the dating pool, and why that is. It's because women don't respect men, but it's not necessarily the women's fault. It's not. Fellas, we have to do better. Now, a lot of people have heard me on many a platform, on many a day, throwing smoke. And consider this my olive branch. We've talked about responsibility. We talked about effort. And tonight we have to talk about strength. Strength and what that looks like and what that entails. But before we get there, like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're catching this in podcast format, like, comment, share, subscribe. Our drink of the evening, brought to you in this beautiful 14.5 ounce highball glass, available on shopgrownmanlogicpod.com, shopgrownmanlogicpod.com. Our drink of the evening is a strawberry mojito. Shout and salute to my co-host, the illustrious, you know that one guy, host of the Uncomfortable Convo and half of Grown Man Logic podcast. You know that one guy. Salute to you, great man. He tweeted about having mojitos, and he hasn't had that in a long time. And I was like, why not? Okay, down to brass tacks. These 7 qualities, these 7 concepts are going to generate you respect. There's no reason why, when put into practice and looking in the mirror at self, that we should not garner the respect that we want, that we deserve. But not every man walking deserves respect. Not every man out there applies the pressure that they think that they're applying. When you get a moment, go back, watch the show on responsibility, watch the show on effort. And tonight, we are going to define and discuss strength. Strength, by definition, the quality or state of being physically strong. Or number two, the capacity of an object or substance to withstand great force or pressure. And there is where I want to put emphasis on tonight. The capacity of an object or substance to withstand great force or pressure. Why is this important? Why is this important? Well, each one of these qualities and concepts garner you adoration, garner you praise, garner you respect in a different avenue, in a different area of your life. When I talk about strength, I'm not talking about the strong, silent type of guy. I'm not talking about the guy that bottles up his emotions, the guy that presents a strong exterior and is always smiling, the guy that jumps ahead of every punchline of the joke so he's not the butt of the. I'm not talking about the toxic masculinity. Now, when I say that, the lack of masculinity, if I can speak, the lack of masculinity is actually toxic. And anybody who overindulges in displays of strength, overindulges in displays of masculinity, is actually covering a weakness. So I'm not talking to the guys out there who partake or dive down into this area or way of thinking. I'm talking to the men who want to actually be strong, the men who are not afraid to look in the mirror. Strength can be broken down into three areas, and ladies are gonna back me up on this, employers are gonna back me up on this, CEOs are gonna back me up on this, potential business partners, therapists, life coach, physical trainer, they're all gonna back me up. You have physical strength, mental strength, and emotional strength. Each one of these things are important, and they come together like a tightly clenched fist when working properly. Each digit is independent of one another on your hand, but when functioning properly, in order to deliver the maximum punch, all of these things must come together and work together. Same is true with physical, mental, and emotional strength. Let's start on the exterior and work our way in, shall we? Physical strength. Yes, this is going to require some physical fitness. This is going to require getting up, going to the gym. This is going to require some effort. This is going to require you to have some dedication, some resilience. Put yourself under some sort of discipline, because subconsciously, this is what this says. And I know what you're saying. You're out there, Dwan J. No. Yes. Studies. University of California study said that the dad bod thing was just a phase. We're currently in the middle of the quote unquote hoochie daddy short summer, which I can't really say that I'm all the way mad at, right? Because it allows an opportunity for men to show off the results of the legs that they've been working on in the gym. That same study by the University of California also said that women prefer men with less facial fat, strong jawlines, strong cheekbones, good symmetry. And so I went through this phase in the middle school going into high school where my head was bigger than the rest of my body, right? My arms were frail. I had a bird chest. I had abs, but skinny dudes are supposed to. But my head was bigger than the rest of my body, and I garnered no attention. That was around the time where, we began to get into girls, get interested in girls, and that are now young women, right? And everybody that I wanted to go to the homecoming dance with, the Sadie Hawkins dance with, they were going for, the guys that were more symmetric, more proportionate, more physically fit than I was at the time. People who took their bodies seriously. Physical strength. And for those of y'all that are wondering, yes, this is backed up by science. Men that are more physically fit are attractive to women subconsciously because they make good mating partners. So you don't really know what it is about the guy that drives you nuts. Broad shoulders, six-pack abs, barrel-like chest, some nice arms. Physically appealing. The University of Rochester, the sexiest trait in men. The gym gives men twice the confidence of the average Joe. When you're in the gym, you're doing push-ups. You're more confident than the average guy walking down the street. Why? Because you're not afraid to put yourself out there. You're more outgoing. You're not afraid to display the work that you've done. Quite frankly, you put yourself out there. You can't help but to get noticed because you're bigger. Your clothes fit a little nicer. They're more tailored. You're not going to get the cheap suit, ready made for anybody. You have to get them tailored, contoured to your body. You know what I'm saying? And that makes you exude confidence. Because inside of the gym, you're achieving small goals. I'm gonna hit a PR today. I'm gonna run for, 2 miles today. Oh, next week I'm going for 5. The University of California also stated, or the University of California in San Diego, stated that men that clock 60 minutes in the gym weekly have more intense orgasms and sleep with more people. Now, if this isn't an incentive to get up and get your physical fitness on, I don't know what is. If this isn't the extra push that you need to stick to that New Year's resolution, fellas, and get rid of that dad bod, put some of this down. I know. That last statement was a bit hypocritical. I get it. You can't talk to me like that, Dwan J. Every time we see you anywhere. Okay, fine. But I'm at the gym, 4:30 every morning. Getting reps, clanging and banging like a madman. Why? So I can afford the luxury to do things like that. So I can afford the things that I want to do. When it comes to physical strength, you have to realize you have to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. And the cherry on top of the physical strength cake. Harvard University concluded that you decrease your risk of erectile dysfunction by 30% by simply working out. Now, I'm sure that when it comes down to attraction, you're trying to holler, you're trying to do all of these things, right? I'm pretty sure that, these studies don't come to mind for women. These studies don't come to mind for employers, for potential business partners, for people that are willing to do you a favor and give you a helping hand. These studies are nowhere near in their mind. I'm just a nerd, so I'm a stats guy. But your appearance does. Well-groomed, in shape, more confident. These things make you more likable. And because you're more likable, you're more attractive. And because you look like you're physically strong, you look like you're fit, you look like that you're in discipline, it's going to give you longevity, it's going to get you laid, and it's going to get you paid. And that's going to make you the best version of yourself. But let's dive a little deeper. Mental strength. Mental strength. A person that is mentally strong is willing to take risk. If you look at anybody that you want to be like on a successful level, our idols, our sports athletes, our mortgage brokers, our stock traders, our millionaires, our Bezos, our Zuckerbergs, you name them, Richard Brunson's, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. You look at all of these guys. Shout to the man 19 Keys. Shout to the great man MTR. Shout to these guys that we listen to. These guys whose message that we carry with us and we put out to the rest of the world. When you look at their life, they're mentally strong and they've taken risks. Successful people attribute their success to the risks they took in the beginning of their journey. Because it gives you the ability to live with uncertainty. It's here that I got to pause and remind you that there's a difference between pursuing something and being thirsty for something. The ability to live with uncertainty means that you know that you're going to be all right, either way, one way or another. If I get this job, I'm good. I'm great. But if I don't get this job, I'm just as good. And I can move on. I don't have to dwell in, oh, what's going to happen? How am I going to feed my, because I've equipped myself with marketable skills. I've equipped myself with something that's going to pay dividends in the long run. So I'm mentally strong because I can bet on myself because I know what I bring. And this is a result of having mental strength, having failed, having overcome the failure. Something else that a mentally strong person brings to the table, they can embrace change. Change serves us and it keeps us from getting too comfortable, because getting too comfortable spells the end of your growth. Getting too comfortable means the end of your growth. I don't have to tell you how dangerous or how damning that is. To come to a point where you're at the end of your growth. You can't grow anymore. That's crazy. There's an old proverb that says the day that you stop growing and the day that you stop learning is the day that you die. And that goes in business. That goes in relationships, that goes in friendships, that goes in entrepreneurship, anything that you think of. We're leaps and bounds past the N1 mixtapes. Yeah, those guys could ball. But the guys that are hooping now, creating and innovating moves, are light years ahead of these guys. We are past the days of shitty CGI and kung fu movies. The technology now washes that. We're light years ahead of currency, with the invention of crypto and NFTs and things of that nature, with stocks and bonds. We're light years ahead of technology than where, a lot of us were born. When I was born, there was no internet. There was no cell phone. There was just your inner circle. But if you can't embrace change, then you can't embrace growth. And it takes mental strength to embrace that growth, because growing makes you uncomfortable, as it should be. It's like when you plant a tree and we see how high the tree can grow. But what we don't see is the growth that it took to sink the roots into the soil, to sink the roots into the ground, the pain that it caused. And sometimes the way up is down. You have to be in a strange place and mentally strong to understand that. Mentally strong people focus on what they can control and don't worry about what they can't. We try and control other people and the way that they react instead of just worrying about our own lives. And this is where a lot of us get upset. This is where a lot of us get frustrated in life, because we're trying to control other people and how they react. Either the guy's going to give you the job or not. He's going to share your post or he's not. The girl's going to give you her number or she's not. You're going to smash or you're not. You have to focus on what you can control, and everything else you have to let happen. You have to let it play out. That's what life is. And mentally strong people have the ability, just like I just talked about, have the ability to adapt to change, embrace change, and focus on what they can control. I'm going to go crush everything that I can control. I'm going to go smash everything that I can smash. Every record, every lift, every business deal, every phone number that I can get. Every successful metric that there is to smash in life, I'm going to do that. And the final piece of being mentally strong is that you're able to see the bigger picture. If we lose sight of the bigger picture, we run the risk of losing sight of our purpose and why we're on this journey in the first place. And if that's the case, then why are we even on the journey? If we don't realize what the purpose is, if we don't have a purpose, hell, if you don't know why you're doing something, it literally makes it illogical. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? And the emotional strength. Emotionally strong men make choices that they know are going to disappoint others around them in an effort to support those at the same time. You have to realize that the choices that you make is going to disappoint some and it's going to uplift some. And you have to be okay with that. Emotionally strong men will look you in the eye and communicate things even though they know that there are going to be repercussions. And that's why we have to stop sugarcoating things, fellas. We have to be out here telling the truth. Anybody that you're going to come across in any form or fashion, in any relationship, does not like to be stupid. And that's where the harm and lies come. Because it forces the other person to take your word for what you said it was, and then it turns out to not be the case. And then that person looks stupid. And that's where the hurt, the pain, and the resentment comes from. Emotionally strong men will not have to be asked to take action. Because you can look and assess, apply some logic, and then take the appropriate action. Emotionally strong men deal with pain very well. Not ignoring or compartmentalizing it, but actually find a solution, because you have to realize that those around you depend on you. And this is what Kevin Samuels was talking about when he was talking about high value men. He wasn't necessarily talking about your bank account. He was talking about adding value to everybody around you. And because you add value, you realize that you can't really afford to be off for too long. So when something impacts you, you have to take a breath, stop, think about it, and then attack the situation so that you're the best version of you for yourself, so you can be the best version of you for everyone that's depending on you, everyone that relies on you. And the final thing for emotional strength is there's no need or dependency on other people or substance. When you're emotionally strong, you don't necessarily need to crawl inside of a bottle. You drink because you like to drink. You don't necessarily need to put anything up your nose. You don't necessarily need to roll up because things have gotten too stressful for you. You don't need other people. You will never find yourself in a situation where you need someone else because you're emotionally strong. Just like I said in the intro, shallow men rely on luck and circumstance, and strong men rely on cause and effect. I'm gonna leave it there. This has been your episode of the VSOP Lounge. I thank you guys for joining me. Be sure to cop some merch at shopgrownmanlogicpod.com, shopgrownmanlogicpod.com. Be sure to follow Grown Man Logic on all forms of social media. And catch us live on Instagram, Mondays and Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for stopping by. Cheers.